So hello everyone, another founder in car, and today I will discuss other cars, successor cars for the Suzuki Swift Sport. So as you might have known, I have this car as a business car, so I need a car that is at least representative or tidy enough and also not too old to use at customers. Of course, it could be very nice when you drive in an old-timer, which might make quite an impression on customers, but also you might need to consider that an old-timer has quite a lot of maintenance that needs to be done because they just are old. That's what the name implies. Therefore also they have suffered quite a lot of damage to the system, wear and tear so to say, which can also give you detrimental effects as a business consultant, because that car might fail on you. So in my opinion, I would rather have a new car because it's more reliable, or a young timer. And a young timer in the Netherlands is a car that's about 50 years old or older. And the old timer rule is being pushed back more and more. So nowadays in the Netherlands you need at least 40 years of age in a car before it can be called a young timer, an old timer. So you might imagine that there are a lot more young timers than old timers, so to say, still on the road. And that's also something that could be of interest. And why is that? Because from a fiscal point of view, you have a little bit less, how do you say this, you have to pay a little bit less personal tax as compared to a new car, because they can make a percentage of the current value. So from a new car it's like 22% that you have to pay each year of the total price of the car. You have to pay for the use in a private sense. So in other words, in 5 years of ownership you have paid the car more than twice to the one at just a dealer, which also gives a lot of his income to the tax system, and after that you pay it again in full to the tax system again. And with a young timer it would be for 35% of the current value. So for example, if that car was once 50,000 euros but now it's only worth 10,000 euros, you pay the 35% over the 10,000 euros, so only 3,500 euros instead of over the 22% over the 50,000 euros, which would imply like 10,000 euros in taxes. So it could be quite beneficial, so to say, to go that route. Another thing to consider is that a young timer of course has a lot more wear and tear as compared to a new car. Also you don't have the warranty, so those are quite some drawbacks. But the benefit is also that because the price is already a lot lower, because there's a lot of depreciation in those 50 years, that you might have a car that will depreciate a lot less. So the overall cost of ownership would be a lot less in this case. So in other words, in my example, if the car was once 50,000 euros, now 10,000 euros, that 10,000 euros over a period of 5 years will only result in, for example, another 5,000 euros, 50% price drop. Then you have still a car of 5,000 euros, whereas a car of 50,000 euros in 5 years time would be about 20,000 euros worth. So you will lose 30,000 euros in depreciation, which is quite a lot. So you should also take that into consideration, even if you have a lot of cost at the car to just keep it on the road, so the maintenance. This could be a good way to approach it. The last thing to consider is that you need to take into consideration if your car is allowed at all the green zones. So especially diesels are quite a lot pushed out of these green zones or inner city centers, whereas gasoline cars are quite a lot more tolerated, but are also being phased out. So for 5 years time, if you're going to drive it 5 years, this might not be that much of a drawback. You could perhaps still manage to reach most parts of the city, but it's something to take into consideration, especially if you have to travel a lot and also in a lot to environmental green zones, so to say. So that being said, in the next video I will tell you about what could be a good successor.